Hello, listeners. You're listening to Anyone Can Move. This is your host, Caroline Gerhart. I am so excited to have a special guest with us today, hosting with me. This is our co host from our production team, Miss Madison Via.
Hi, everyone. I'm Madison Via, and I graduated from UNC School of the Arts in 2020. And I'm a full-time professional contemporary dancer, full-time dance teacher, and I've been working with Art and Flight for the past few months. And I'm so excited to continue to work on this and be the co-host. So,
Yes.
so yes, I met Betty Kondo a few months ago now, like a month and a half ago, and we went to Zion Dance Project together. And she is this gorgeous, beautiful dancer, and she has a family, 2 young kids. And I was just instantly in awe of her dance ability and just her spirit and how much she loved life and loved dance. So I'm so excited for you to get to meet her today.
I'm so excited. And, I think this is just such an incredible opportunity for us to speak with somebody who has a full time life and family outside of dance. It's not something that you see very often anymore. And so I'm so excited to get to know what she has to say and any advice she has to give us. So, without further ado, our conversation with Betty Kondo.
Okay.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Anyone Can Move. I'm so excited today to welcome our special guest, Miss Betty Kondo. Hello.
Hi, so good to be here with both of you.
So good to have you here. Thank you so much for talking to us today. So, just to get started, I'd love it if you told us a little bit about your background, your career in dance, and yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in Maryland, so I'm an East Coast lady, and my journey started when I was 3 years old as a dancer. It's kind of funny. When I was three, my younger brother was born, and my mom likes to tell me that I didn't enjoy the new intruder in my life, and so she stuck me in dance, and I kind of just never stopped. So by the time I was in probably middle school, I became very passionate about it. I wanted to pursue it as a career. And so after I graduated high school, I moved to Orlando, Florida, to dance with the Orlando Ballet. And I danced with Kansas City Ballet. I danced with Eugene Ballet Company. And then I also danced with a contemporary company back in Kansas City. So yeah, lots of variety in as far as dance, but it's always been a huge part of my life and something that I am very passionate about. And more recently have really enjoyed teaching, just passing on that knowledge and appreciation for this art form to the next generation of dancers.
Right. That's so incredible. And it's so funny. I'm actually from Orlando. So when you said Orlando,
Oh, really?
oh my gosh,
That's
yes.
great.
And you also, but you have a family. You are a
I
dancer
do.
as like an entire family. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, so I became a mom on June 15th in 2015. My daughter Pearl was born, so she just turned 6. And I also have a little guy named Ryder. He was just 2 in March. So we're a family of 4. And yes, it definitely keeps me on my toes around here. No pun intended. Yeah,
That's incredible. And
yeah.
that, dancing professionally with a family, that like must be a huge feat. Is that something that you ever, saw yourself doing?
No, actually, I kind of always had envisioned that I would be a dancer. You know, I was very fortunate to have a really wonderful career, and I kind of thought, okay, when I'm done dancing, then I'll be a mom. And I had this moment, this like aha moment, where I felt like it was just kind of this realization of like, wait, nobody ever said this. Nobody ever said that I had to be done dancing to become a mom. Like, why couldn't I do both? And just even through, like, I'm a person of faith. And so through a lot of prayer, it just made me realize like, wow, like that was not God's idea. That was my idea. And he had other plans for me and my family as it relates to continuing on that passion and gifting that I had on my life to continue dancing into motherhood. So yeah, it was really kind of cool because then I was like, oh, I can actually dance and be a mom, and what does that look like? And yeah.
Mhm. What did your career look like after you started your family?
Yeah, so I funny thing. So I had already signed a contract with a contemporary company that I was dancing with at the time when I found out I was pregnant, and I had also signed a like just a freelance contract to do Nutcracker. I had signed the contract to do Snowpaw and Grandpa, and so I ended up performing like 4.5 months pregnant. On full makeup, point shoes, tutu, like the whole thing, 4 months pregnant. And yeah, like I of course wasn't expecting to see myself in that situation. But then after I had Pearl, my daughter, um I quickly went back to dancing. And I mean, I think she was 3 months when I started just taking her with me to rehearsals. And eventually, once she started crawling, of course, I couldn't just leave her there like playing on a mat. But it was funny because I would be in rehearsals, and then on our 5, I would just take her into the dressing room and nurse her, and then bring her back, and she would fall asleep and take a nap, and then she'd wake up and play, and then it'd be about time to nurse her again. And so we just kind of did that until she got a little bit older. And then I ended up having somebody look after her. One of my really good friends looked after her. First she would come with me to the studio, and then eventually she had to stay home. But it was really funny. So we were in dress rehearsal for this show, and I get this call from my husband because it's tech week and late nights and long days. And I get this call from my husband, and he's like, babe, Pearl will not take a bottle. And I went, oh my gosh, like, what do you do? I've never been confronted with a situation like this before. And yeah, so she basically went on a bottle strike. And yeah, didn't nurse. I mean, for like, and I got home at probably 10:30 at night, and she hadn't had a bottle for, I don't know, since the afternoon, probably her afternoon feeding before I left. So yeah, it's just some funny things like that. But it definitely was a huge adjustment. But I think, my husband's always been very supportive of my career and of me following my dreams and doing what I love and doing what I feel called to do. Yes, and even more so now. I mean, even having 2 kids, we recently had an opportunity to be in Dallas for 2 weeks. We went as a family, and he was on serious dad duty. And we never thought that those sorts of things would happen. But just as they've kind of organically, these opportunities have come up, we've kind of just taken them bit by bit and going like, okay. And then of course, just on a day-to-day at home, there's opportunities where we just, as a family, we love to have dance parties. So we incorporate dance in all areas of our life, basically.
That's so cool. And I'm sure your kids too, like growing up, getting to say like, mom's a dancer. Like that is
Oh
such,
yeah.
like, I'm sure they love to brag on you with that.
For sure, for sure. Especially Pearl. She just had her first recital in May, and this was her first full year. Of course, with COVID, her first year was actually shortened. But when she started dancing and realized, she's like, "Oh yeah, my mom's a ballerina," and so she was totally had those bragging rights.
Right. Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I'd love to know, you mentioned a little bit, but like your really good friend watched her when you first had her, but did you find like your coworkers were really supportive of you and your family, like knowing that you had this whole other family life going on at home? It wasn't just rehearsal and taking care of yourself.
Right. Yeah, I feel like for the most part, everybody was really supportive. My coworkers, the director at the time I was dancing with, she had had a baby prior, like a year before I had my firstborn. So I think she was a little bit more empathetic and could understand and relate to some of the things I was going through. And although she was on the other side of things, being the artistic director, she was very compassionate and understanding. She would, I said, I want to be a part of the season, but I'm going to have to leave class 5 to 10 minutes early so I can pump. And so like, I don't think I got through Grand Allegro that whole year, like for technique class warm up. But I would say most of my My coworkers were very supportive and more often than not wanted to be around the baby, hold the baby. If Pearl was awake, she was probably in one of their arms. So I felt like it was a joint effort of like everyone's taking care of Pearl. It wasn't just me there trying to be a mom and be at work, which is, more than just like sitting at a desk 8 hours a day. It's like, your mind and your emotions and your physicality and all of that goes into it being a dancer. So yes, I did feel like I had the support of those that were with me during the day. And yeah, they also acknowledging that when I left the rehearsal day, I had to put my mom hat on. It wasn't like I could just check out or process what happened during the day. It was like, oh no, now I'm Betty the mom, and I have to take care of these sweet little faces and feed them and bathe them and put them to bed. And yeah, everybody was for the most part very, very supportive.
And bouncing off of that, were you able to find a community of parents that danced also through having your own kids?
Well, I wouldn't say that I've found a community, so to speak,
Mhm.
but I think that there were, I remember my first year with Kansas City Ballet, there was a dancer that was retiring and became pregnant. And so that was kind of my first picture of like, okay, a lot of dancers will retire and go into another career, or they might become a teacher or whatever. But I feel like that was the first time that I like saw what it looked like to have just like that sense of community, where like I remember actually that was where I learned how to knit, because we all knit like 5 rows on a baby blanket for her, which was, yeah, it was really sweet. But I wouldn't say that I found like a community across the board. I think that that's something that I aspire to see. I could definitely see like vision. I mean, of course, you have like Maya Wilkins. I remember she was setting light rain on me when she had a baby and was like out to here with her second. And just going like, wow, this woman is like rocking it, like super strong, super determined, still super athletic and mobile. But yeah, so I think there's been like her, and like I said, my director Penny Saunders is another one she's pregnant with her second right now. She's pretty well known choreographer now. I had the opportunity to work with her several years ago. And just seeing her, and I think pulling inspiration from each other. But I wouldn't say that I've been in the context where there's been mothers and fathers that are doing it together, if that makes sense.
Well, and that's, you brought up earlier, I think it is so common, the narrative of, you're a dancer and you do that first, and then you have your time as a performer, and then afterwards you are allowed to have a family, or that's when you have that opportunity to have a family. And so it is interesting because it does kind of feel like a stereotype. I feel like we do hear nowadays more of women and men having families and staying
Absolutely.
dancing professionally, but to hear that even like you were in these different companies and there weren't a lot of people doing that, it's, were you surprised that not as many people were parents around you as you might have thought there would have been?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I remember growing up, I grew up at Maryland Youth Ballet, and Julie Kent, who's like one of the most well known ballerinas in all of the world, probably. I remember when she became a mom and then went back, and she was probably the first person I ever heard of like, what? Like, you can still go back to dancing after you become a mom, after you have a baby? I mean, that was just so eye opening for me. Um, and then I think just realizing as I got older, but yeah, I mean, like it wasn't until probably I would say 10 years ago where you've seen more and more of that, where you see like a mom like with the baby on her hip. I heard this quote recently. It said something like, anything great I ever did, um, I had like a baby on my hip. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it was such a beautiful picture of like, yeah, like anything great that I've accomplished in my life. I feel like now as a mom, like you can't imagine your life without your children. Um, but yeah, I did expect to see more and more of that. And I feel like more so in the last 10 years, you've seen a lot more moms and dads. I mean, of course, it's easier for men because they don't have to go through just the physical change of their body and getting back in shape. I mean, like you hear about the dads having the sympathy weight and all that stuff. But I mean, it really is a lot on a woman's body just to go through pregnancy and labor and recovery. And I mean, it usually takes at least a year for your body to fully recover and feel like yourself again, typically. Um, so I think more and more we're starting to see that, where people are realizing I can still be a performer and I can still be a parent. And it doesn't mean that my time is divided. It just means that I'm giving 100% to this during the day and 100% to my kids when I'm with my kids.
Mhm. And with that, what kind of things have you done to prevent injury through the different phases of your life?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, like I said, I grew up training at Maryland Youth Ballet, and I feel so incredibly blessed to have trained there because they did such an excellent job on focusing on injury prevention and conditioning. So, we would have an hour and 15-minute stretch class every single week, which as I got older, I realized that a lot of the stretches we were doing were basically like um, elongated yoga positions. And so I would say cross training has been huge. I actually enjoy running. I don't do long distance running, but I do enjoy doing like, 3 to 5 miles. And yoga has been, I feel like, such a huge complement to my dancing. I think the combination of keeping your body limber and flexible with stretching and strengthening has definitely been a huge part. Like I really enjoy yoga. It feels good on my body. I feel like if I'm not dancing a lot, that's something I can do kind of in the interim. And I think that hugely helps with injury prevention, but it also keeps your body supple and moving in a fluid nature. And I would say the other thing is just regular like self-care. Like I put a high level of priority for myself, especially as I've gotten older, on getting chiropractic adjustments and massages and taking baths and just taking time for yourself. So I feel like all of those, but I would say mostly what has helped the most is probably yoga, Pilates. I really enjoy Pilates as well. Just keeping those muscles active and engaged and keeping them stretched and strong.
Yes, that's wonderful. And you have YouTube videos
I
of your yoga
do.
routine, and you have a YouTube presence as well. So what inspired you to start that?
Yeah, great question. So we lived in New Zealand for 2 years. And when we moved there, I wasn't sure what opportunities I would have as a dancer, as a performer in New Zealand. Pearl was 14 months when we moved to New Zealand, and it was amazing. We absolutely loved it. But there weren't a lot of opportunities for me to dance there. And I did find a ballet studio where I began teaching. And actually, I started teaching the highest level students as well as the adults, which was probably my most enjoyable and rewarding class while I taught there. But my husband and I were running an internship, and I offered a fitness class to those that were participating in the internship, and the internship was about 3 months. And so I would teach a weekly class, and I did kind of a combination of yoga, like a body weight, kind of like a HIIT workout circuit, and incorporated Pilates as well. And the ladies that took it just absolutely loved it, and I incorporated some of that as well into my adult ballet class. And so somebody said at the end of the internship, "Gosh, I wish I could just keep taking your classes. Have you ever considered doing a YouTube channel?" And I went, I don't think I would be more scared of doing anything but a YouTube channel. And so I gave it some serious thought and consideration. And then, so then I just went for it. I can tend to be a bit of a go-getter. And so I thought, okay, I'll just test it out and see how it works. And I got such incredible feedback. I remember I think I started with a video on Facebook. Like I did like a Facebook Live workout. And I think within, I don't remember, a day or two, it had over 1,000 views. And I mean, who knows if 1,000 people actually did the workout? Probably people were sitting on the couch with like a bag of potato chips or chocolate bars. Who knows? But there was such an engagement, and I thought, oh my gosh, maybe this is really something I should put some effort into. So I started my YouTube channel and posted every week. I think it was like on Wednesday, every week for like a year or two. And in the process, I was getting my mat Pilates certification. So when I finished that, I did like a whole sequence on mat Pilates, and kind of just branched out, and then got a little bit of feedback like, okay, what are people wanting? Are you wanting more like HIIT workouts? Are you wanting more yoga? Are you wanting more Pilates? Are you wanting like some exercises to increase your arabesque, whatever, like lifting up your different body parts and things like that. And so it kind of became more of this interactive thing where it was a way to connect with people all over the world, because I was in New Zealand at the time and I had friends all over the country and these connections all over really the globe. And so it felt like, man, this is something that I feel like I can contribute and I can help. I mean, mostly it was women, just kind of help women feel like confident and beautiful about their bodies by giving them this context to do a workout within 15 to 30 minutes. So that's kind of how it started. I kept it going for a while. I should get back into it. So thanks for the reminder, Madison.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. But yeah, it's been great. It's been really great. And just knowing that I'm contributing a piece or sense of value to someone's life is really rewarding, even though I may never get to meet them because it's all via YouTube.
That's so interesting. And you mentioned, that rewarding feeling that you get with teaching earlier as well. Have you thought about like what the next 10, 15 years look like for you, if you want to continue performing or if you want to teach? Or I'm just interested to hear about that.
Yeah, I feel like we were in New Zealand for 2 years, and then we moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Like, yes, there really is a Kalamazoo. Even get a mug that says, yes, there really is a Kalamazoo. But it's a very small town. It's just south of Grand Rapids. And I feel like as an artist, I have, during my time here, have really started to like shrivel up because there haven't been a lot of opportunities just to express myself in a creative way and kind of like have an outlet and scratch that itch a little bit. I've had a couple like freelance opportunities since being in Kalamazoo over the last 3 years. And this last year, I've been teaching at a ballet school, the only like pre-professional ballet school in the area. It's called Ballet Arts Kalamazoo. But I feel like in the last 6 months, especially, there's just kind of been, well, it really started a year ago. So I had my little boy Ryder in March of 2018, and by 2019, the beginning of 2019, I kind of felt like, okay, this is my year. We were in Kalamazoo for a year back in the States, and my baby is about to turn 1, and it's like my time to like just really start pursuing some of the desires and the dreams of my heart again. And then the whole world shut down. So that was such a huge letdown, but I was thankful for the opportunities that I did have. Like I said, just having a few freelance opportunities, as well as being invited to teach at Ballet Arts. They had lost one of their ballet teachers and asked if I would do it. And I was very happy to just stay connected to the dance world in any way. So I feel like over the last 6 months, especially, there's kind of been this flame like reignited inside of me to pursue and just kind of explore what dance could look like in the context of where I am. So here's a little inside information. But I'm sure that by the time this is released, we will have already moved to St. Louis. So we're moving from Kalamazoo to St. Louis next month. And the last time I danced like on a professional level was actually in St. Louis. So I have a lot of connections in the dance world and in St. Louis, and so I'm excited to explore. Just the arts are alive and thriving in St. Louis, and so I'm excited to see what opportunities I'll have there. If not, then what something could look like if I started pioneering different opportunities. So that's something as well that I'm considering. Once we get there and get settled and find our bearings, I think I'll probably have more clarity on that. But yeah, I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, I feel like I have a little bit more left in me as far as dancing. It's something that I still like. Still a strong desire and passion of mine. And it's, I feel like if I didn't dance professionally ever again, I would still feel like very blessed for the professional career that I've had. But I do feel like I've got a little bit left inside of me yet to spill out. But I do really enjoy teaching. Like I said, just inspiring and training and raising up the next generation of artists and dancers is something I'm really passionate about as well. So whether that's teaching or dancing or creating or choreographing or what, I'm not sure what that's going to look like over the next 5 to 10 years. But I feel like something big is coming. Like I feel like there's something going to be like, I don't know, just birthed out of the experience I've had, and just in having to also like lay my career down a few times, just based on geographical location and life circumstances. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen and transpire over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's always exciting when you're going, oh my goodness, words. When you're on the cusp of something, like
Yeah,
that you can feel it like culminating. That's
yeah,
so exciting.
like a blank canvas. You just
Exactly.
anything is possible.
Well, speaking of a blank canvas, that was the greatest segue I could have asked for. We
Okay.
talked a little bit about artists and artistry and how dance really is an art. Did you
Yeah.
feel that when you became a mother, your artistry changed at all? Because I know we talk a lot about it coming from such a personal level. Like your art is the
Yes.
essence of you, and I'm interested to hear if that changed for you at all.
Yes, it absolutely did. Um, yeah, I remember this moment sitting, after you have a baby, you just kind of sit down a lot. Um, and you just have these long periods of time where you can just like stare at this creature, this human that you created with your very own body. And I feel like it was just like this new level of understanding of um of what it looks like to be a creative when you actually use your own body to create something like another life. So I feel like, yeah, it's just becoming a mom tapped into this whole other layer or dimension of my like existence and my soul that I didn't even know was there until I became a mom. And especially, people will say, oh, dance is such a selfish career because you have to really focus on yourself and your body and fine tuning your instrument, if you will, so to speak. But I feel like, when after becoming a mom, when I would dance, when I was creating, when I was rehearsing, when I was performing, it wasn't so much that I was doing it for myself anymore. I was like, I'm doing this for my children. And even just as my kids have gotten, my daughter's a little bit older, my son is still pretty little, but just even seeing things through the lens of a child has been so inspiring as an artist and a creative. Because I mean, we'll be out, I don't know, like I remember recently we were I think at Trader Joe's, and my daughter had to go potty, of course, so I took her into the bathroom and she's going, oh mom, look at this. It was like the paper towel holder, and into the like where you pull the paper towel out and you like put it in the trash right below it, and she's like, oh mom, this looks like a face, and like look here and look at this. And we go outside and she's looking at all these fascinating details that as we get older we tend to just disregard and not notice anymore. But being a mom and seeing the world and the beauty of the world through the lens of a child has like completely reawakened this part of me as an artist. And you might have 5 or 10 people in a room and you give them something tangible, and say like, okay, create a 32 count phrase off of this one item, whether it's like a leaf or a flower, whatever. And I feel like after becoming a mom, you just look at that thing from such a different viewpoint. And yeah, it's really like reawakened my eyes and my understanding of what it means to be an artist, um after becoming a mom, just like I said, just through the exploration of creating a life to seeing life through the lens of a child and the way they see it.
And I can personally attest to that because we danced together in Dallas, and there was a piece where you were a figure of kind of a motherhood in a way, and how that experience of you being a mom translated to that piece. It just brought so much life and so much joy and so much beauty to that role that I don't think anybody that didn't have that experience could capture that as well. And it really was something that was out of this world beautiful because you do have that experience and you have lived that. So I can personally attest to the beauty of that and the beauty of different experiences that we have. So yes.
Thanks, Madison.
Yes. And also one of the things that I saw and knew of you first was the video that you did, the unraveling video.
Oh,
So
yeah.
could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Do you want to know just about like the process or like how it came about, or?
Anything, how it came about, the process.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was asked, for those of you that don't know, I was asked by a pretty well-known Christian music artist to create a dance piece for a music video, one of the songs on his album. And yeah, when I initially got asked, my answer was automatically yes, because I just was at that place where I was so desperate to create and just be inspired. And his wife is a very good friend of mine. So when they approached me about doing it, it was like, absolutely, yes, I would be honored and delighted to create a piece. And so uh, I had him share just kind of the story and the meaning behind the piece, from his view. I mean, just because being friends with them, we kind of knew that part of the story and just kind of the tension, behind the lyrics and that part of their life. But I had him share, and so even as he was sharing and just kind of like talking with his hands, I it was like, okay, like I'm starting to get, the piece was called Unraveling. The song is called Unraveling. And so yeah, I got asked to create a piece. And it was really amazing because when you step into like the choreography world, you have to listen to this song like thousands of times. I mean, over and over and over and over. And so you almost take on that identity of the singer, and what they're feeling and the emotions behind it. And yeah, like for me personally, I would start to see these like patterns and images, and like, okay, what does that look like? How is that translated through movement and dance? And really, it was the first time I think that I had the opportunity to tell a story. So it was personal for me because I knew them. And I just felt like, man, I have this opportunity and privilege to tell their story through movement. And so there were some little things that that were probably edited out or like weren't captured in sequence of how I would want to share that through motion. But it was such a gift for me in that time because I was, like I said, just wanting to have that creative outlet. But also because that couple is so special to me personally, as my friends, our friends, and yeah. So it was really cool. Like he had a lot of input. The artist had a lot of input on the movement and what I was wearing, and like, okay, well, and it's funny because when you have a non-dancer trying to explain what they want, you're like, okay, so I think what you're trying to say is you want something like this. Like, let me just huddle in a ball to communicate that I'm like experiencing pain right now. But yeah, it was truly just such a life-giving opportunity to do that, and then to be able to do it right here in Kalamazoo. Part of it was done on a rooftop, so it was supposed to just feel like raw and just not put together and not perfect. And then the other part of it, so we spent, I think, 2 or 3 days filming for it, and the other part of it was done in this beautiful chapel right down in the heart of Kalamazoo, and it was supposed to just look so like pristine and put together, and kind of just showed the two dimensions of what it looks like to be like tainted and raw and ugly versus like beautiful and pristine. And yeah, so it was super fun project to be a part of, and yeah, just kind of releasing that out into the world. One really cool thing about that project, the Unraveling project, was that the person that recorded it or videoed the dancing was not the same person that edited it. And so it was almost like we were all three of us, the videographer, the editor, and myself, plus the actual music artist, we're all kind of like experiencing this very unique but different at the same time, like almost like an encounter, like with the whole, it was kind of like just this beautiful merging um okay, so I'm dancing, and then the videographer is capturing things, and he's seeing like, the way the light is coming through the wall and saying, okay, stand here, so you can like, there's just this like beautiful moment where the light just kind of like skims across me. And then the editor, because she was of course watching it over and over and over again to edit it, she was saying, I noticed that you were doing certain, I think she called it gestures. And she said, as I was listening to the words and watching your movements, I realized that you were communicating through your movement, the actual like embodiment of what the words were, which was really cool because as an artist, you're like, yes, that's what I was wanting. That's what I was hoping. There's this one part in it where Corey and Anna have 4 kids. And so kind of the piece was about the tension of sacrificing your family for your career or vice versa. Do you say no to the opportunities? I mean, he had a song that just kind of blew up, and everyone was kind of saying, ride the wave, like you just have to take every opportunity that comes your way. And he was like, okay, but then I'm like sacrificing my family and my time with my family. And so he felt like he was really supposed to just invest for a year, like not go on tour, not ride the wave, but just really invest in his family. So there's this one part in the choreography for myself in that video, and I think part of it is cut out, but there's this moment where I kind of gesture to one side and then the other. I think I blow a kiss, like as if to say like I'm coming home, like here I am, I'm coming home. And then I tap, I kind of do this motion where it's like I'm tapping the heads, and kind of the idea, the thought behind it was that I'm like tapping each of the children's heads. So I kind of start lowest to highest, and then like you would like brush your like someone's hair back, just to signify the wife and just the coming home to the family and leaving behind what everybody else is saying to pursue. But the cool thing is I got the most just incredible messages from people after that video was released, that music video, and people just saying like, obviously thank you, and it meant so much, and it touched my soul and whatever. But there were so many people that said, I've longed to dance, and this gave me such like hope to be able to dance, or inspiration. And I felt like, oh man, that's kind of like what it's really all about, is just kind of inspiring and sparking that sense of joy and creativity through the arts.
Right. That is such a beautiful point, and that honestly is what this podcast is all about. We want to have conversations with people so that listeners that aren't dancers can understand, like, it's not this thing that's unattainable. Movement is a universal language, no matter like your ability, your age, your mindset. Like, everybody moves at some point. And so, that is just like, I'm sure that experience was so rewarding for you that you were able to give that to people and see through comments on the video and everything that they were experiencing that. That's just like so incredibly beautiful. I would love for you to let our listeners know where they can find you on social media, your YouTube channel, and if you have any like exciting projects coming up or anything, if you would want to let us know about those.
Yeah. So just to keep everything unified and simple, I just use my first and last name, Betty Kondo. So BettyKondo. So like my Instagram handle, I'm pretty sure is just Betty Kondo, but I constantly post videos of myself and my kids and us dancing in our living room and paddleboarding on the lake, and soon to be our new adventures in St. Louis. And then same with my YouTube channel. If you just search for my name, I sound like Blibby, just search for my name. That's what he says. That's when you know you're a mom, when you've got your child celebrity in the back of your head. But yeah, if you just search for my name, Betty Kondo, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then any new workouts or posts or anything that I release will go straight to your inbox.
Incredible. Well, Betty, thank you so much for speaking with us today. I
Yeah.
so enjoyed this, and you are just so beautiful and eloquent, and I'm so glad that you were able to share your story with our listeners.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an absolute honor to do so.
Of course, of course. Well, you have a great day. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Thank you so much, Betty.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you. Bye.
Well, that was such a beautiful conversation. I
Oh
don't know
my
about
goodness, yes.
Madison, but I feel so like just warm and fuzzy inside after speaking with her.
Oh, I do as well. And she is 100% like that all the time. And the first conversation I had was just this in-depth conversation, and like it was just really deep so quickly, and she's such a genuine dancer in person. It's just a gift to know somebody like that.
Yes, and I think it's such like for our listeners who aren't dancers to get to hear from somebody who is, having a quote unquote normal life outside of dance. Like that's something that I think is important for everybody to know they can accomplish. And she is obviously doing an incredible job at it, because she is just so well spoken and like well accomplished and successful. And I think that is just absolutely incredible. Well, Madison, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so much fun to have a buddy. I'm not like alone like I usually am, but I'm so excited for you to join us for some other episodes this season. And as always, everyone, keep moving, stay curious, and stay confident. We'll see you next time.
Bye.